So I just wanted to state for the record that I'm a trans woman, but I'm not a terrorist. I don't support terrorists in any capacity. You know, if you actually look at my service record, I was on the pandemic lines when we were in the COVID pandemic. I'm not part of any terrorist group. I'm also not a part of any organizations that are anti-fascist, but I am anti-fascist all on my own because I'm about independence. In a country that's about independence and liberty, I'm independently anti-fascist, okay? So make sure it's stricken into the record, you know, just exactly what I am. And I feel like if you're anti-fascist, you're pretty much anti-terrorist. Kind of just goes without saying for the most part. There's always an exception, you know, to anything, I would say, except, you know, this thing or whatever, but most of the time there's an exception. But I also will state one more time, it's ridiculous that I have to even make these statements. It's ridiculous that they've weaponized the FBI to tell us that we're terrorists and that they're coming after us. There's bad people in any grouping that you can go to in the social hierarchy. Could be a Christian, could be a politician, could be a Democrat, could be a Republican, could be a Libertarian, could be someone from the Green Party. Could be anything and anyone, any group you can possibly think of, and there's going to be a bad person there somewhere. Because that is just the way that things are. So again, the thing to focus on here, right? You know, pay attention, idiots. The important thing here is that there's bad people everywhere in any grouping. Now, I don't mean to say like everywhere, like everyone's bad or something, but in everywhere we look, we will find someone who is bad. So we need to really stop targeting the smallest minority groups we can find with this charge. And it's ridiculous that, again, I have to say this in what the country is that wants to call itself America and wants to sit here and say that it's the land of the free, home of the brave. There's nothing brave about making me and my sisters into terrorists and criminals. It's the coward's way. So, you know, why not just realize what we really need to have here for those that will listen, that are on the fence, you know? This is more what trans people are really like. And this is what your expectation or your bias tells you that it is. And the two are often very disconnected. There are bad people in any group. There are some bad trans people. I am not, you know, sitting here trying to deny that. But it's undeniable that there's also bad people in the cis community. There's bad people in any and all other communities we can name. There's someone that's bad. Thank you. I appreciate if you took the time to listen. Not just hate, not just spew ideology, but really listen. And so last thing I will kind of just throw out here, and it's something I have said a few times and I'll keep saying it. You know, there is a thing such as military transhumanism. It is the belief that through the combination, the meld of man and machine, you're going to be able to control evolution and adaptation of the human species. People like Michael Goldblatt are DARPA scientists that literally believe that men control evolution and that they can change their bodies in whatever way they see fit as long as they keep developing these technologies and these advancements. And so when we're sitting here focusing on trans people and whatever various issues we can cut this issue into and make into other issues, you know, sports or voting or whatever it may be, let's remember that the transhumanist militarists, or whatever the hell you want to call them, the military trans people, I guess we need to start really putting this out there, They want to say here, trans is only an adjective. It's kind of insulting that's like, first and foremost, you see me as trans above all else because that's the main thing that you identify when I'm so many other things. But yeah, we need to remember we're distracted, right? And we don't want to pay attention to the military transhumanists, that they even exist. And we want to sit here and blame trans people. They want you to feel like I'm a danger for you and that I don't have value, I don't even belong in this country. But meanwhile, they're sticking a computer chip into their brain. I'll jokingly state that they're sticking a computer chip in their testy, and they're proclaiming loudly so every woman in the world, not just the country, can hear, they can now reproduce without a woman. So that's the end result. Like, it's supremacist, it's white male supremacy, that's like the main thing that has the foothold in this government right now, more than sometimes in its history. And so what they're going to look for through eugenics, because again, eugenics was the way the supremacists had this science edge, that they really felt like this was supremacist science back in the time of World War II. So now they've advanced that to a point where they're military transhumanists, and they're all about men, predominantly white men, being the ones that get to decide how people look, what people do, what their mind is shaped to be, because once again, you control the biology. You don't need to worry about MK Ultra. You can control the biology, and then the mind follows whatever the biology does. And so the mind is informed to be that, inescapably, invariably. So that's why this is super important. It's not just, well, these people are bad and you should like, there's some justification to hatred of this community. This is, they want to control the evolution of humanity and say how we can or cannot change our bodies and our gender and our understanding of our identity. They want to have identity dominance, is the word that they would use, that would strike a complete chord with them. They want to have utter and complete identity dominance over their citizens' identities. And they don't want them to have the choice at all. And they want those people to think they have the choice to be erased. And they want you to be distracted and look at the sports and look at this and look at the bad trans person that did something bad and think that they're all bad, rather than look at the military transhumanists for 1 second and realize maybe even one of them, let alone many of them, are bad apples. So if we could, really start paying attention here to what's important, because we, the people, are the ones that get to decide adaptation and evolution if science has reached this level of progress, not the military. The military can in its own way, if it would stop trying to infringe and take away that ability of the citizens, then it would be fine. But at this point, it can feel like it's either one or the other. Either there's going to be a military transhumanism that establishes an absolute identity dominance through its operations and advancements, or the people are going to be able to say, look, this is what we deserve as individuals, and we deserve to define our identity going down the line as science progresses in whatever way we see fit, which is within reason, obviously. And I'm sick and tired of how much in this country it's a case of the military gets to decide the ultimate shape of things. The military really is deciding the course of the country, not we the people, not we the people who disagree in a majority, right, with what the military is choosing to do under this commander-in-chief, for example. So is it going to be in the history books that it wasn't we the people that really shaped America and shaped the world in whatever way we shaped it? Is it just going to be that the military is allowed to sit here and shape it? Because if we don't pay attention and they're allowed to have this kind of gender identity dominance, then that's exactly what the case is. We, the people, have really failed, I think, one of the most fundamental tests that we have as having our rights and our abilities. So, they made it look like the Jews had killed themselves and killed other people. They made it look like the Viet Cong had killed themselves and other people. They made it look like the Black Panthers had killed themselves and other people. They made it look like aliens had killed other people because they're too smart. They won't kill themselves, apparently. And so what's the next step? We're going to make it look like trans people did it. And we're going to blame everything on the trans people. And it's just the same thing. If we could stop just making it look like someone else killed someone, and we could actually just make it look like someone else gave life or birth or a better life to someone else, that'd be wonderful at the very least. Thank you very much.